Alright, now that we're done with all the limited time series for the new GT4 cars, let's check out the series. Those cars are featured in GT4 2019 season, which you'll find under the Motorsports section. Right, there it is, GT4. And my 30% completion is, of course, from completing that exhibition series, which I have already made the playthrough videos for the entire 6-tier series. Very easy, quick one. You can really run through that for free, no upgrades necessary, and you don't even need to own the car featured in there. That's the reason it's called exhibition series. But anyway, that's not what we're here to check out. We're here to check out the actual 2019 season. So let's jump in. All right. 2019 season of GT4. Race the top cars from the 2019 season of GT4. Sounds simple enough. Of course, we got 5 GT4 cars. Got the Aston Martin Vantage GT4 to the far left, and then far in the back looks like the Porsche Cayman GT4, right? And then in front of that we got the Mercedes-AMG GT4, and smack in the front center we got the Audi R8 LMS GT4, and to the corner to the right we got the Camaro, Chevy Camaro, which happens to have the highest PR, and in a moment I'll explain why that is actually important. Alright, so here it is an 18-tier series. Yeah, with the 6 time trials. So that is 12 tiers of 3 event tiers in different, so 12 different venues, and 6 time trials. So total gold reward for the series is 73, and that's divided into, as you can see here, 9 gold for first 25% completion, which is most likely going to be somewhere in tier here. You know what? Let's unlock these with gold. Not going to race through it right now. So first tier is going to be at Brands Hatch, and first tier we don't have PR requirement, of course. And then second tier is going to be at Monza, so that requires a PR of 50.1, which means if you haven't won any of these cars and you're trying to run through this by buying these cars, then that's when you need some upgrades. And then tier 3, we got a Monza time trial, and tier 4 is going to be at Catalunya, and somewhere on, I would assume in tier 5 you can claim that 9 gold, 25% completion reward at Silverstone. And then tier 6, of course, we got the time trial at Silverstone. And then tier 7 is going to be at Suzuka. And tier 8 is going to be at Daytona. And of course, tier 9 is the Daytona time trial, which is smack in the halfway point. So you'll get that 50% reward, or 50% completion reward, which is another 14 gold. So if you won the car through limited time series, regardless of which car you won, if you won all 5, good for you. If you only picked 1 or 2, you can still run through, because your limited time series PR would have been higher than 57 for any of the 5 cars. So that is what, 9 plus 14, so that is 23 total gold that you can earn for 50% completion. And actually your limited time series PR would get you actually 75% completion regardless of which car you won. So let's keep pushing here. So tier 10, we got Circuit of the Americas. PR is up to 59.2. And then tier 11, we got Spa. And the PR is 60.4. And then tier 12, we got the time trial at Spa. And we got what, 13, tier 13. It's gonna be at Red Bull Ring. And yes, we're getting pretty close to the limited time series PR, but if I remember, they were all in 63s. We'll confirm that in a second. And tier 14 is somewhere here, is where you're going to be able to claim the 75% completion reward, which is another 20 gold on top of 23. So that is 43 gold you can collect by running through and completing 75% completion here. All right, and then the Laguna Seca here, of course, next tier 15 is going to be the time trial at Laguna Seca. And here is a good point to check the PR of the cars that if you won through the limited time series, your PR should look exactly like mine. And as you can see, Porsche has PR high enough for this tier, 63.5. Aston Martin Vantage GT4 also has PR higher than the required, at 63.6. And Camaro, of course, has the highest one, 63.8. And Mercedes-AMG has the PR of 63.4. That's the lowest PR car, by the way. And even then, you're able to reach the PR requirement here. And finally, Audi also meets the PR requirement. So this 8-lapper Mazda Raceway Cup is what well, you probably don't even need to run through that to claim 75% completion, but you would have to reach somewhere in that 14th tier to claim that 75% completion reward. Now let's continue on here. So tier 16, we've got Hockenheim with the PR 65.6. So obviously that is beyond what you can do with the limited time series PR for any of the cars, because we tapped out in 63 and change. Right now we're jumping to 65.6, and then last venue for this GT4 2019 season is going to be at Nürburgring, and the PR requirement for 100% completion is going to be 66.8. And of course, we got a time trial at Nürburgring at the very end, and of course that one does not have a PR requirement. As long as you got one of those drives, you can race, and those fill up over what, 15 minutes is what it takes to fill up one drive bar. So now here's the thing, right? For 100% completion, you need to meet the PR requirement of 66.8. And none of these cars, obviously, with the limited time series PR, we're good 3 points below the required number. And I will start with the one that I know for certain that can get there with the least amount of extra resources, because up to this point, whichever car you own, the limited time series PR cost was exactly same, 286 gold. All right, now there are slight difference in PR, right? The lowest being the Mercedes, down at 63.4, and the highest being Camaro at 63.8. So not a huge difference, but 0.4 PR, right? but it only takes 0.1 difference to whether you're able to participate in or be able to race in a cup race or not, right? You know, if you don't meet the PR requirement, you don't. Doesn't matter by how far you're off. And all the other cars are somewhere in the middle. So here's the thing. The Camaro takes the least amount of extra upgrades to get us up to the PR requirement, 66.8. And how you get there is spending another 265 gold. So here's 110 for engine, fourth tier, but of course that unlocks the racing dollar upgrade. So with that, we're able to get the PR up to 65.3. And then when you look at the rest of the upgrades, they're all dead end gold upgrades. So it's just a matter of figuring out what's the cheapest way to get our PR up to 66.8. And as it turns out, here, we'll just run through it together. Drivetrain gives us the PR, brings us PR up to 66.1. So that's a 0.8 PR boost. And body, 0.7, right? And that's 80 gold. So those two, if you get those two, so 0.8 and 0.7, you would think it'll bring our PR up to 66 point, well actually that is exactly to 66.8, isn't it, if you just add them up? But they don't always add up like that, right? So let's check out suspension. Same PR boost, but with slightly less than drivetrain, right? And brakes, it's just not going to be enough. It's only cost 70 gold, but we're going to need a lot more than just one more upgrade, right? And same story for tires and wheels. We don't get enough PR boost in these categories, even though they are little bit cheaper in terms of the cost. We just don't get what we need. And of course body is cheaper than the tires and wheels, so we definitely want to go with the body because that does give us enough PR boost. Brakes just don't cut it, right? So that's 80, another 80. So now we're up to 66. We need another 0.8. And here's the thing, the difference between what you can get with suspension versus drivetrain. If you look at the drivetrain suspension, we are 0.1 PR shy. So if you go with the suspension for 95 gold, we're gonna have to spend another more gold on another upgrade, most likely brakes. But if you go with drivetrain, voila, it does cost slightly more gold, but that's all we need to get, right? And as I said, the tires and wheels just doesn't quite give us enough boost. Kind of the same story as the suspension. So to meet the PR requirement for 2019 season, if you picked Camaro as your car, then you will be able to save some gold and upgrades, because Camaro does have the highest PR while costing the exact same amount in upgrade. All right, so Camaro, you need to max out engine, drivetrain, body, and exhaust, and you can just leave the suspension, brakes, and I guess exhaust be maxed out in limited time series. So basically, extra upgrades that you're gonna need are gonna have to come from engine, drivetrain, and body for Camaro. Now let's check out the, say, another car. How about the second highest PR car, Audi, right? That's the second highest. So let's go to Audi and see if we do the same thing. We'll do max out engine, 110 gold, and yes, racing dollars, 2-day upgrade time. All right, and then brakes. So as you can see, the cost of upgrades are the same, but because we're starting at a lower PR, remember we barely met the PR requirement with Camaro, and it has the highest PR. So because we are missing that 0.1, right, in Audi, and everything else has more lacking, we're just not gonna be able to make it quite high enough in PR. So let's see, body 65.8 for 80 gold. Well, let's say we go with the tires and wheels for this one, just because we get a little bit extra PR boost, right? So that gets our PR up to 65.9. And then is there anything that's gonna get us high enough to meet 66.8? Drivetrain doesn't cut it. Body doesn't cut it. And suspension doesn't cut it either. So as you can see, we're going down the path of needing another upgrade, like brakes. And then we can easily meet the PR requirement with body. So I said body because it's the cheapest one out of the remaining categories, right? Suspension is 95, drivetrain is 105, body's 80. So the three, I guess, cheapest upgrades remaining, the fourth tier upgrades, are brakes, tires and wheels, and body. Those are the three cheapest ones. So then you end up spending, more gold than you would otherwise. Obviously your PR is a little bit higher too, 67.1, but you get my point, right? And what about the lowest PR car? Mercedes-AMG GT4, right? We're starting even further down, 63.4. So for this guy, we're gonna go the same path, maxed out engine, just because that's kind of obvious choice, because we got the racing dollar upgrade, right? So now we're up to 64.9, and then body gets us up to 65.5 for 80 gold. 85 gets us a little bit higher. So let's go with a little bit higher in tires and wheels, 85. And then remaining categories, we are pretty far away from what we need. Exactly. So brakes, 70 gold, brings our PR up to 66.1. And then of course the cheapest remaining upgrade is the body, and that gets us exactly up to 66.8, right? So if you've chosen any other car other than Camaro, this is gonna be the path that you're gonna have to go in terms of upgrade to for the 100% completion of the series, which is a little bit more costly than going with the highest PR car for obvious reason, Camaro. Just need, you end up spending a bit more gold in upgrades, because you're gonna need to get more upgrades than one more upgrade than necessary. I know they're cheaper upgrades, but when you add them up, they do end up costing you more. So that is that. And what else is there to talk about? Should we talk about the lap counts on the cup races? Sure, why not? We'll run through the series. So we got Tier 1, Brands Hatch, Autocross. Generally takes under 30 seconds for that one. Elimination, we know how long those take. You gotta survive the 7 car eliminations before, so 7 times 20 seconds. So 140 seconds, right? That's minimum how much it'll take for you to win that event. And then the Brands Hatch Cup is gonna be 6-lapper. So that's cool. High lap count. Although Brands Hatch pretty short track. And then tier 2, we got the Monza speed record. And endurance is going to be at the junior course. Speed record is at the road course, and of course the cup is at the road course as well. And that's going to be 3-lapper. All right, so that's a good length, normal Grand Prix race in the game, right? And then of course, time trial. Fastest guys are doing minute 27-ish. All right, we'll see how I fare in that with just the limited time series PR. But anyway, moving on. In Catalonia, we got Speed Snap at Club Circuit, Hunter at National, and the cup is going to be, of course, at Grand Prix. And let's see. What was the Racing Dollar alone PR gets you up to like 53s, like 5-point PR boost, right? So with the Racing Dollars alone, how far can you get? By the way, that's 3-lapper Grand Prix for Catalonia. And then the tier 5 is 52.8, so, and then it jumps to 55.9 in tier 7. So remember, the tier 5 is what you need to complete for, well, not, you don't have to complete, but need at least 1 or 2 gold trophies to claim the 25% completion reward of 9 gold. So if you buy the car with no upgrades, then if you get the Racing Dollar upgrades, which is basically the first tier upgrades across the board, then you can claim at least 9 gold reward for completing 25% of the series. So anyway, let's continue on. Tier 5, we got Silverstone, speed record, the national circuit, eliminations at the Bridge Grand Prix, and the cup is at the Grand Prix, PR 52.8 and 3 laps. All right. So 3-lap Grand Prix seems like the norm, at least so far. And then we got tier 7 Suzuka, we got endurance at East, Hunter and West, and cup is of course at Grand Prix with a PR requirement 55.9. Another 3-lap cup. All right, then tier 8 we got Daytona, speed snap at road course. Isn't it funny how they conveniently skip over the speedway section of the Daytona? We rarely get those nowadays. I mean, you really have to go into the NASCAR series to race any race at the speedway section of the either Indianapolis, the Brickyard, or the Daytona, or even Richmond. We don't have Richmond anywhere, right? It's almost exclusively in the NASCAR. Anyway, it's probably more appropriate in real life anyway. But moving on, we got autocross at Daytona, motorcycle, and then the cup is at road course, PR requirement 57, and it's a 4-lapper. All right, didn't mean to exit that far out. And then tier 8, right? That's where we were. And then tier 10 is Circuit of the Americas. We got head-to-head. That's different. At Club Circuit, single lap. Speed record at National Circuit. And Grand Prix Cup race 59.2 is the PR requirement. And ooh, now we're getting into 4-lap races. All right, so the races do get longer towards the second half, or near the second half of the series here. And we got tier 11 Spa elimination, speed snap, and 4-lap cup race. So second half we're getting into the 4-lap cup race, PR requirement 60.4. And tier 13 is at Red Bull Ring, Endurance at Grand Prix, Hunter at National, and Cup, of course, is back at Grand Prix. And that one, of course, is a slightly shorter Grand Prix circuit, and we get 6-lap race with a PR requirement of 62.1. And Tier 14, we got Laguna Seca, Autocross, Elimination, and the 8-lap Cup race. And of course, this is a slightly shorter track than normal Grand Prix circuits, so even 8 laps I would say is fine. It's not too short, not too long. I think it's good. Anyway, Tier 16, we got Endurance at National. Oh, by the way, it's Hockenheim. And Speed Snap at short, and the Grand Prix is 8-lap. All right, so that's gonna be a good length Grand Prix race with a PR requirement 65.6. And finally, the Nürburgring. We got speed record at Mühlenbachschleife, Autocross at Sprint Circuit, and the Grand Prix Cup with a PR requirement of 66.8, and it's gonna be a 7-lapper. Of course, Nürburgring slightly larger Grand Prix circuit than Hockenheim, so that should be a fairly comparable distance that you will travel, I think. So anyway, so there you have it, the series rundown overview of 2019 season of GT4 here in Real Racing 3. So yeah, so hopefully you guys found the information useful, help you guys with the figuring out which upgrade path you might want to take, and so on and so forth. All right, so we'll see you in the next video. Take care.